good to be back with you again. And today I'm going to be doing a recap of everything that's been going on since I posted, I believe it was May or early June last time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. So, what has been going on? It's been a lot. Not all bad. Most of it great things, just a lot of things. So when I left off, I have to check to see what my weight was, but I've been consistently losing without any exercise. Um, I had a sinus infection, and I had to take some antibiotics for that. Went away. About 2 weeks later, it came back. Went back to the doctor. Think I did another round of antibiotics. Went away for about another 3 weeks or so. Came back again. Spring 2025 was not kind, and I have not had problems with my allergies in years. But yeah, 2025 was woo. So when I go back the third time, I actually went to an ear, nose, and throat ENT, and they prescribed me steroids. I had a round of steroids. That worked. Went away. Did not have any more problems with sinus and allergies for the rest of the year. So by this time, I had got me some new Hokas. They are really the bomb. They are what people say they are, especially if you're heavier and need the extra cushion to walk comfortably. And I started walking, and I challenged myself. For me, I'm not completely sedentary. Yes, I do work on computers, sit down a lot, but I'd gotten a new job position at my company, and I work from home. And because of that, I'm getting up actually more than I would if I was in the office. I get up to cook, doing a lot of cooking, get up and, walk and just do things. And so not completely sedentary, but that's not like walking 3 miles, which is what I worked my way up to be able to, by the time it started getting cool, I could easily walk 3 miles. So yeah, I was making progress. But one thing I noticed with the expectation was if I had been losing weight all the year without exercising, adding in walking 2 to 3 times a week, 3 miles would speed up the weight loss. It's like by July, I had just really stopped losing weight, and I could not understand what was going on. So I talked to my clinical team, and they actually upped me from the 5 milligram, milligram, I think, to the 7.5. Right, not too long after that, developed tendonitis, and the doctor gave me another round of steroids for that. And so by the time September, October gets around, I had pretty much, just stopped losing weight. I was flat, just plateaued. So it was completely frustrating about that. And yeah, so that happened. So we had 3 sinus infections, 2 rounds of steroids, 3 miles of walking 2 or 3 times a week, changing doses. Still, weight was probably around 316, 18. I get up, it'd go up one day, down the other day, up and down. So after the second dose of steroids, which is about August, then I noticed my weight started to go back up. Still taking the shot, same thing, but it just really was not working. And I'm like, what is going on? And I saw my local primary care doctor, and she was thinking, well, either you're not eating enough or you're building muscle with the walking. Could be possible. And I will say the program that I'm on, I have United Health as my health insurance. They have a program called Calibrate that they it's the shots and other things, but it's also coaching. So yeah, what their way of handling the food side, they just have you track how many red foods. And for them, a red food is anything that raises your blood sugar, can cause you to have insulin spike. You just have to track it. There's no try to keep your red foods less than 5, less than 10, 0. They don't have, they just track it. It's a kind of low touch thing. The other piece to it, because of that, I really did not know how many calories I was typically eating, what those macros, the fat, protein, and carbs were, because this program wasn't tracking it like that. So around this time, I went back to my Fitness Pal to start tracking that. And what I learned, I was eating around 1,300 to 1,500 calories per day. Now, if I had a bad day, meaning we had some fast food, that would easily go up to 3,000. But that may be once a week or once every few weeks or so, especially when I was out of town, perhaps. So, yeah, so there was that. That was one piece of information. I was still not getting enough protein. My water had gotten better. My goal was 100 ounces of water, and I would meet it some days, but not consistently. So those things were going on. Fast forward to December, and pretty much, I'm inching up, 316, 318, 319, kind of slowly inching up. So I think I probably was about 325 1st of December or so. So I found out I had to have a a surgery to, check some things out, and they wanted to kind of check some things out. I'll probably talk about that later. But as getting ready for that particular procedure, I had to stop taking, they wanted you to stop taking any of the GLP-1s. And so I decided, the surgery was scheduled for like the end of January. I just decided to just be safe. I just stopped taking it in December. So I did not had not had any doses of Zepbound in 2026. And so as things would happen, we had a snowstorm here, and it got delayed, and I actually just had the procedure last week. So there was that. So I was taking the metformin, which I kind of have been taking. I never really completely understood why I needed it, so I wasn't really taking that. And now we stopped the Zepbound. And the other thing that happened, early first week, second week of January, it was time for me to redo my labs, have that complete metabolic panel done, where they look at all the metabolic related markers. And so I had that done. And when I got it back, I noticed I paid, I took it upon, and I'm a digger and research. And so, I know I've been knowing A1C, I knew it cholesterol and all those other things. But some of the other ones, I don't think when we did it before I started, I didn't really have a clear understanding about it. So I did a lot of research based on my numbers, and most of them were all down. I know my cholesterol was like 250. It was down to 211. Major change in this year. My A1C was normal before, it was normal, just, almost, it was at the threshold before it goes into high. I think it was like 5.6 or so, and it was 5.2. So that was going in the right direction. Let me see what that other number was. Yeah, cholesterol and A1C, yeah. But I had some other numbers that were either had gone up. My glucose was up, my insulin was up, but this is January. This is after Christmas, and I cooked and I ate. I ate cornbread. I'm not even a cornbread person, but I cooked a lot for my family, so I made cornbread, and I like my cornbread. So I eaten more carbs probably between Thanksgiving and Christmas than I eaten all year. So we had that. So, it wasn't completely abnormal that those numbers were kind of up. And I wasn't walking because it's cold by this time. So, yeah, there's that. So we have all that going on. And I dug in and did the research to kind of understand, because it feels like weight loss science and metabolic science, there the things that science doctors say no today about how our bodies work, we didn't know this when we were in college. We had no idea, we were just calories in, calories out. But what I've since, really dug into, is not that simple. If you are a person if your metabolism is functioning normal, you have no hormone related issues, and insulin is a hormone, that'll probably work for you. But if you have insulin resistance, meaning your body is having to, your insulin level is high, that hormone insulin, which tells your brain to store whatever you eat as fat, don't burn it. Don't burn nothing. You have a hard time losing weight as long as that insulin is high. And the insulin is in your blood to keep the blood sugar levels low. So my A1C complete was normal, so I wasn't even pre-diabetic, but those numbers are trending in the wrong direction. And so I started digging in and doing a lot of research around that, about, how do you bring those levels down. And it's knowing those numbers kind of have really let me know, I have a year of what I experienced last year. And it's like, now that I know those numbers, I know why they want me to take metformin, to help my body become a little bit more insulin sensitive, to work with the GLP-1 and what it does. It makes sense to me now. And last year I was like, oh no. So yeah, the knowledge truly is power. So I feel like, I have a good solid plan about that, what to do this year, getting at minimum 30 grams of protein per meal. The other things that I've learned, for me, I'm a late eater. I'm because I tend to stay up late working, and like they tell you, the brain is the biggest user of energy. And so if you're working, especially doing creative work or technical work like I do, your brain, and I can eat late at night, and that is something. There's something about, a lot of things happen overnight relative to your metabolism and insulin levels and all of that. And so eating at 10 o'clock at night is doubly bad for me. So I've learned, things like that, behavioral things, that, my goal for 2026 is not working harder, it's working smarter. It's eating, my goal is to stop eating at 7 or 8. No food past that, to give myself, a good long no eating window, to definitely eat things in the right order. Eat protein or vegetables first, and any carbs last. Definitely get rid of the refined carbs, focus on complex carbs, the beans and things like that. So it's like I've learned a lot of what I need to do, and I feel like I know. I've cooked a lot this year, and I'm remembering something, and I don't know if I did a video on it, but one of the things I remember doing salad week last year, where all I ate was salads, now with grilled chicken in them. They had some protein, but for a whole 5 days I ate salads. And I remember I didn't lose weight. That didn't even make me lose weight, eating salads. Seriously, lettuce, you know, making my own dressing. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. And I'm walking, eating salads, but still wasn't losing weight. High insulin. And so it's good to know. The other piece that I learned just a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it all made sense. So I had 2 rounds of steroids last year for the sinus, I think in May, and in August for the tendonitis. I was doing some research and found out steroids basically mess with your insulin levels. They will mess up your metabolism. And it now makes complete sense, because I stopped losing weight I started walking, but I stopped losing weight at the same time. All of that coincided with when I had that first dose or the first series of steroids. And then I had another one in August. And so now that I was like, oh my gosh, because I was losing weight before and I was not walking. So yeah, things like that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that steroids can, just mess up your insulin hormones that to the point where you'll have high insulin, which is telling your body, even if she eats salads all week, store all of those as fat. Do not burn them for fuel. So yeah. So that's all that's going on that side. I just wanted to come on and kind of, give you an update on that. Yeah, and I did have surgery. I actually had it last week, and I actually got my test results back. It went well, I thank God. It's my first time having surgery, which at my age, that's a blessing. It's not a lot of people who can make it to my age and have never had surgery, so I'm grateful for that. Everything was normal. Everything was negative, so praise God for that. What else has been going on? Hopefully I'll talk about. I'm building the app, y'all. I'm building the app. I'm very excited about that. I'm building an app for people who plan reunions, whether it's a family reunion or class reunion. It's called Get Together, and you can actually sign up to be part of the early access community on gettogether.com. I'll put the link in the description box. So yeah, so that's going on. Done a little traveling, just doing different things. And so I took my, oh yeah, talk about this. I took my first restart dose, which I'm having to restart back at the 2.5 dose this past Wednesday. And I'm back taking the metformin. So we're going to do what we need to do, accept the help for as long as we need the help. So we'll, I'm not going to be weighing every day in this part of the program. Before Calibrate, United Health wanted me to weigh every day. I have an app and it tracks it and they can see it and all that. But now I only have to do it once a week. And I was like, that's good enough to give myself a chance to, kind of make change. So next Wednesday will be my first weigh-in after I start the shot. So we'll see kind of how that goes. And I'll be updating you. Like I said, I'm gonna shoot for maybe once a month because there's a lot going on. But to just, I appreciate everyone who follows the journey and they're like, what happened to her? I wonder what happened. And I wanted to do it. But now that the surgery was a big deal, that was an anxiety producing thing because, I just had never gone that way before. So, but God brought me through it and I'm grateful for that. But I did just want to come and give you a quick update so you would know that I'm yet in the land of the living, yet making progress. I'm still not back where I started because my high was 350 pounds, not back there. And we're, working our way down. And, my goal would be ideally to be tiny skinny by my birthday in August. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining me and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.